We're continuing our conversation with Patrick Reynolds, the CEO of Crosslink Consulting. Happy New Year. It's a new year, 2022.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I always feel very optimistic going into the new year in terms of making goals for the company. Yes. And I know a big goal of yours is to maintain culture. And I guess it starts with meaning, doesn't it?
It does. And I take this from my own journey, as I've alluded to before. It's going to be difficult for you to attract the right talent and to keep them motivated and to put them on a path that you have followed, right? Most folks who start an organization, not that every one of our listeners is that sort of person, but regardless of where you're at in your organization, in order to attack that day zealously and with clarity and with purpose, comes down from the meaning, the mission that you're serving and the meaningfulness. So if you can get your hands around that meaning and you can start to live and breathe it, then that shows up in the conversations around the water cooler. So everyone is starting to live and breathe that meaning, and then that moves further out into the clients that you serve. I mean, whatever your organization does, whether your organization is a service organization like ours, whether you're making widgets and selling widgets, if there's a deep meaning behind what you're doing, that's going to increase the quality of the product or the quality of the service that you're producing, and it's going to increase the level of customer relations and the quality of customer care that your company or your organization provides. So it does start with meaning.
Do you believe there is a difference between meaning and mission of a company?
Yeah. So the meaning is what's going to drive that mission. So just thinking out loud, just thinking through our journey at Crosslink, we do have a mission to serve our community the way that we've been called to do with the gifts that we've been granted. I would say that most people can name a couple of their gifts. Some people are fortunate enough to be able to use those gifts in the workplace, and that's true for our folks, for me and for our folks. I'm a very gifted systems engineer. Troubleshooting is something that the Army taught me, and it's something that I've been able to combine with a love of hardware, computer hardware, networking hardware, and to take those interests and those gifts and to apply them in service to others. That's where that meaning comes from. And then that mission takes the meaningful work that we're doing and the meaningful gifts that we've been given and the ways that we've found meaning in serving others. And then we're able to take that meaningful work and incorporate in our mission to apply that for serving organizations, for serving local businesses, governments that are regional throughout the state, so that we can provide IT services, but also to provide cybersecurity services. And the goal, I think, for organizations is to find a mission that's meaningful enough. So our mission that's meaningful enough is we get to protect those regional governments, and as an example, and we're able to take the good that we're striving to do in protecting our neighbors and serving our neighbors, and we're able to take that, and by protecting 50 or 100 county computers from a cybersecurity threat, that extends to 20, 30, 50,000 people in that community that we're able to protect. That's meaningful. So our people who work at Crosslink aren't just doing it they're not punching the clock, they're not getting there early, they're not working late for the paycheck or for the benefits. They're doing it because the work is meaningful. They get to serve people. They get to serve people face to face, which is important to us, and they get to multiply their efforts.
You have bought in 100% since you went through your culture shift.
Yes.
What if company leaders are not all in?
There's going to be a toll. So if an organization, the leadership at an organization hasn't bought in and doesn't have clarity around that meaning and around what the mission that is driven by that meaningful work, it's going to come up dull in the ears of the workforce. Mm-hmm. It's going to not be motivational. It's not going to result in the folks who are living it and breathing it and able to replicate what you're striving to do in your organization.
And you believe in the big idea.
Yes.
The big idea. Grab a hold
of
an idea so big.
So I think a lot of folks show up to work for the paycheck, and they show up to work. And really the work that's articulated by leadership at an organization is often, we've got to have the highest quality product. I don't think that motivates people for any length of time. We've got to have the fastest response times. So managers tend to focus on results. We want these results, and we're going to measure to these results. And if we're not getting these results, there's going to be issues. But if we are, then we're going to provide bonuses. And if we can accomplish even a higher level of result, we're going to have even bigger bonuses and spiffs that we're going to motivate people with. I just don't think that lasts. I don't think that is going to change behavior and change drive for any length of time. So what I talk about with the big idea and what we talked about in the expo is there has to be something meaningful enough that you're asking your folks to do that does keep them focused on it when they're not at work. That does has them striving to be there early, and it has them putting the time in after 5 p.m. to improve their ability to deliver on that mission. If that mission is hitting a certain level of result, that's just not going to move the needle for very long. So, when it comes to Crosslink, of course, we've got KPIs and we're watching metrics, but when a request comes in, Neil's Outlook isn't opening, we don't say to the technician, "Hey, Ben, can you take ticket 47? We say, "Neil's Outlook isn't working and he needs your help. Can you give him a call and help him out?" And that's meaningful. So we believe it's meaningful, and we've hired folks who believe it's meaningful and who are gifted and called to do that sort of work. And so their day is filled with meaning, and it has nothing to do with getting paid. It has nothing to do with promotions and benefits. It has to do with a servant heart given the opportunity to serve great people, which we've curated that list of clients that we serve. It's a great list of folks. So by doing what they're called to do and doing it Monday through Friday and outside of Monday through Friday, it provides great meaning for our people.
And with it being 2022 here, folks resolve to write down New Year's resolutions. Since you've been through the fire, would you recommend a step-by-step process for a leader to actually write a culture plan? Is there such a thing?
I haven't seen one.
Okay.
I've not seen a step-by-step, here's what to accomplish. I can tell you that for me, it started with trying to figure out why I did what I do. That came down to the gifts that I have, the things that I've found, the ways that I've used those gifts that I found very fulfilling, the things that get me out of bed early and have me working well beyond 5 p.m. That is the first step, I think, for our leaders. Find out what's most meaningful for you. And if that isn't what you've been hiring for, if that's not the story that you've been telling and the reason that you've been trying to grow and expand, then that's really step one. Start with determining where your meaning is and take your time. That was, a good 6-month process for us. So that would be a great starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Determine what's most meaningful for you as a leader of your organization. And you may not see your role as a leader, but if you're serving others, then you're already a leader in your organization. Mm-hmm. And then from there, don't try and add folks to the workforce. Don't try and expand the workforce until you've gotten good draft of what your meaning is, and you're able to, you've tried that story in the company huddles, and you've tried that story, and it really is a narrative. You've tried that narrative with your coworkers and polish it up, get feedback from them, find out what drives them, and it'll probably help you hone your idea. And then you can take that to build and craft your narrative for recruiting. And you need to focus on recruiting people who are driven by the same reasons to show up early and the same reasons to work late, the same meaningful work. And if you can determine what yours is and then begin to recruit for that, you're ahead of the ball at that point.
And with New Year's resolutions come goals. What would you recommend as a good goal for a fellow business owner in the CSRA?
So a lot of organizations, they do build their KPIs, and they do have a results-oriented goal.
Key performance indicators for those who didn't know.
Yep. I appreciate that.
Sure.
They want to provide a certain quantity of widgets, and they want to have it at a certain level of defect-free, and they want to deliver it within a certain time frame. And that's like we've been talking about, that I don't believe is going to be meaningful for very long for very many people. There certainly are people who can come and work eagerly for 5 o'clock and punch out and come back tomorrow just as eager. But most people are going to need more. So that goal really ought to be trying to establish what those meaningful results are that you're looking for. Those meaningful results can't be around widgets. It has to be around serving others. It has to be around providing a level of service, if you're a service industry, that serves your community for good. And if you're producing widgets, then even then, it really ought to be doing it because this is what the Lord has called you to do, and this is what He has you doing today. And my gold standard for that is, I think about the carpentry shop that Jesus and His father and brothers worked in. What quality of product do you think that carpentry shop turned out? I would say that they had tables to produce, and they had chairs to produce, and those chairs were going to go and serve their community. And so when we're in a position or we're in a job that it really is about widgets and we're producing widgets, then even then we can transform why we do that so that it isn't about the pay or the bonus that we're going to get if we produce X number of widgets, but it really becomes about the recipient of that product. Let's serve the recipient of that product by producing with a high attention to detail, with an unparalleled level of precision and accuracy. We're going to produce this widget so that it can go and serve the folks who buy it for as long as possible. For me, if I was on an assembly line, that would be a lot more meaningful to me than, hey guys, if we've hit our quota, we get to clock out a little bit early. So I would just love for people to set their goals, to transform why they do what they do in their organization, to bring it back to who we're doing it for. And for me, that is the Lord who's called me to do it and gifted me to do it, as well as my family who get the benefits of us doing it well, my children who get the benefits of me setting an example, my wife and I set an example of why we do it, and then helping those organizations get that idea and then empower their workforce. And if the idea is big enough, ennoble their workforce to do that.
Did you know we've done 8 of these culture podcasts? You did not know. This is our 8th one, and it just dawned on me as I was listening to you that someone might have interest in actually watching through from the beginning, and we do have it on Augusta Business Daily YouTube page, and we're going to work to do some sharing of videos with crosslinkconsulting.net as well. But thank you for your the meaning that you deliver and the service that you deliver. It's refreshing, and it's not just about those KPIs.
Yeah, it really is about the recipients and the folks at CrossLink who get to do it. You know, we get the opportunity to make disciples in the workforce. As leaders, that's part of what we get to do. We get to make disciples. And then if we have gotten our hands around our own reason for doing what we do and the meaning that we're doing it, we've been able to make disciples and teach others the meaningfulness, which is going to be rewarding for them, going to be rewarding for their loved ones. And then they're going to go and they're going to do it in a way that's unparalleled. And I think that we're already doing it. And I know of a few other organizations who have their hands around the organizational culture, and they're delivering a level of service that's unprecedented as well. And then, you know, not only do the leaders of an organization benefit, the workforce of that organization, the disciples of that work organization benefit from it, but the folks that they serve or the buyers of their products benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, thank you again. We hope you have a delightful 2022. Patrick's favorite word. We end on that note. Thank you for watching. And again, thank you for all you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Neil.
Yes, sir.